Log parsing solved.
Okay, let's look at this question, this problem, log parsing. So it says write a script that reads standard stdin line by line and computes matrix. First, this is the input format, the address, date, status code, and file size. If the format is not this one, the line should must be skipped. Let me show you the format first. This is the format: IP address, method, status code, and file size. And then after every 10 lines or a keyboard interruption, the statistics are supposed to be printed from the beginning in this format: the total file size, and then the number, and then where total file size is the sum of all previous file size. So this is it, file size, and then followed by the status code and the number of times the status codes appear. Then if a status code doesn't appear or is not an integer, don't print anything for this code. As already shown you, this is the format: status code followed by a number. So the goal is to create a script that passes and analyzes log data, tracking the total file size and the frequency of specific status codes while handling both standard input and keyboard interruptions. The script is supposed to produce statistics based on the specified format and requirements. So we are going to start by creating 4 functions to be able to do the task. So the first one is going to be a function that is going to initialize a dictionary. Going to call it initialize log. So this function is going to initialize a dictionary called log, which stores the file size and the counts of various HTTP status code. And then second one is going to be pass line. So the pass line is going to be responsible for processing each log line. Yeah. So it will use a regular expression to match and extract the information from the input line. And then if a match is found, it will update the log dictionary that we created using the initialize log function with file size and increment the count for HTTP status code. And then the third one is going to be where we are going to print the total file size and counts of the status code. We call it print codes. And of course, we are going to print it in sorted order. And then the main function is going to be the entry point of the script. So this is where we are going to compile regular expression, then call the initialize log function and read lines from standard input and process each line by calling pass line function, then count the number of lines processed and print the line if it is a multiple of 10 or get a keyboard interruption. Then of course this is where we call the main. So since we are going to be working with the C's and the regular expression, so we import both of them. And then next, inside this initialize log, inside this function, we are going to create a list of valid status code, and then initialize them to all the list of possible status codes here. And then next is we create a dictionary variable called log. So this log is going to hold the file size and status code. It's going to hold the file size. So the log is going to be a list. Then the file size is initially going to be 0. And then as for the code list, we are going to initialize each and every status code to 0. So we use a dictionary comprehension. We loop through the status code, and for each status code, we are going to make it 0. And then we return the log dictionary. Let's say let's run this. Let's see. Oh, need to call. So right here we can see that the file size is 0, and all of the status codes are all initialized to 0. So next thing we are going to do is to work on the pass line function. Let's clear this. And then in the main function, we are going to create a regex variable. Okay. We create a regex variable and define the group we want to capture, which are the status codes and the numbers. So these are the two groups we want to capture. These status codes and these represent the numbers. So this one is the capture group that captures any 3 characters and is assigned to group 1. And then this is another capture group that captures 1 or more digits and is assigned to group 2. So we pass 3 parameters to the function: the line, which is from the standard input, the regex, which is the regular expression, where we've grouped the status code and the file size, and then the log, which contains the dictionary of file size and status codes and the count. And then
we compare the regex, this regular expression, we compare it using the full match method with the line. Line is the loss that are coming from the standard input. We compare the two. If they are the same, then match becomes a match object. Becomes a match object. Then if they are not the same, it's going to become none. Then if they are the same, next thing we do is we use a conditional to see that, to make sure that they are the same. And if they are the same, if it's a match, we are going to save the group 1, which is the status code, to start code variable, and save the group 2, which is the file size, to the file size variable. Like this. So we use the match.group. Remember, we group the last two. The first one is the status code, the group 2 is the file size. Then next thing we do is so you, just to let you know, when you match the group, this one is going, the first group is going to save to be start code, the second group is going to be file size. I don't know if I've mentioned that already. So the next thing we do is so we check that every time we match a file, if the line is valid, and then if it matches, if there's if the status code is saved to start and the file size is saved to file size, what we want to do is we add it to the key pair of the log dictionary. The file size, we add the file size. Every time there is a file size, it's going to keep incrementing. And then next, we check if the status code is decimal to make sure that it's a number. That's the status code that is matched in group 1. If it's a valid status code, what we are going to do is to increment the count for that code in the log dictionary under the key code list. We increment it by 1. And then finally, we return the log. So after that, next thing we do is to move to the function tree that is going to be responsible for printing everything out. Well, almost everything. So of course, we first pass in the log, and then we print the file size. Don't forget that this is the expected format. File size, then followed by the number of file size. So print the file size followed by the accurate number of file size. And then as for the status code, we first have to sort them. We sort them in ascending order, and then after sorting them, we look through the sorted code list, the status code, we look through it, and then we print it out using an F string. Forget that this is the format. We print out the code followed by the occurrence of the status code. status code and the occurrence of the status code. And then next is we go to the main. So next thing is we move down to our main, where we already have our regex, a regular expression where we've picked two groups, the status codes and the file size. And then next thing we do is we call the initialize log, the function, and then save it to a variable log, because we are still going to print it out. We need to pass it, print it out. So next is we initialize a variable, another one called line count, so that you can be able to count and hold the number of lines from the standard input. Because according to the task, we're supposed to print out the number of lines. So, and next is we iterate through each line from the standard input, and then for every line that we get from the standard input, we have to strip the line. We strip off any leading or trailing spaces from the line, and then after stripping, the next thing we do is we increment the line count by 1 by every time we go through a line, so we can always keep a record of how many lines there is. And then the next thing is we call the pass line function, and then pass the line, regex, and log as arguments. Then so the function is going to update the log dictionary with the updated numbers of file size and valid status codes, and then we save it to this variable pass log. And then next thing is to make sure that we print the pass log only when the line count is up to 10 from the requirement. So we should print only when the line count is up to 10 or interrupted by the keyboard. So we check if the line count is up to 10, and then what do? We print it out. So in summary, the initialize log function, it initializes a dictionary called log, then it stores the file size and counts of various HTTP codes. The function initializes the file size to 0 and says counts for each status code. So then the pass line function is responsible for processing each log line. It uses a regular expression regex, which we created in the main function, to match and extract information. We match and extract the information from the input line. If a match is found, it saves group 1, which is the status code, to status code, and group 2, which is the file size, to file size. And then here it has every file size that is found, and then for every individual status code, it increments its occurrence after matching. And then the print code function, this is just where we print the necessary format. And then in the main function, this is where we compile the regular expression, and then initialize the log dictionary as log, and then read lines from the standard input, and process each line that is passed, and then increment the line count by 1, and then pass the line the regular expression and log to pass log, and then print out the number of lines once they are up to 10. So let's see. If you find this video helpful, as always, please do not forget to like and subscribe if you are yet to do so. Thanks, guys. See, there it goes. Then Control C prints the remaining part.